Lesson 24. The new word for Lesson 24 is specto. We have lots of English words that are related to the Latin word specto. For instance, words like inspection, spectator, and spectacles. Lesson 24 is somewhat of a special lesson because we're learning our first action verb in Latin. In a nutshell, the word specto means I watch. And the word specto includes the word I within the word. So if you saw the word specto, you could translate it by saying I watch. It includes I and it includes the verb watch. Now if you want to, you can use ego along with it. You can say ego specto, and that also means I watch. And you can use non with specto. You can say non specto, and that means I do not watch. Now, next to the word meaning, you see I have listed I watch, I do watch, I am watching. The word specto is a present tense word, and so it covers all of those different ways of expressing the present tense. Sometimes we'll translate specto as I watch, and other times we'll translate it as I am watching. And the reason why we'll translate it these different ways is just because of the context and trying to translate the Latin in the nicest possible way into the nicest sounding English sentence. The one in the middle that says I do watch, that's not quite as common, but remember that specto can mean that. In the next paragraph, I bring up the whole issue of nauta and the direct object ending am that changes nauta to nautam. And the reason I bring it up is to tell you that it's also true for agricola and poeta. So agricola becomes agricolam and poeta becomes poetam when you add the am ending. So if the word agricola is in a sentence and it's the direct object, it needs to be agricolam. And if poeta is in a sentence and it's the direct object, it needs to be poetam. So what we're going to do here in Lesson 24 is we're going to take our action verb, which is specto, and we're going to put it with a Latin noun, such as nauta, agricola, or poeta, and we're going to make little sentences that have a real Latin direct object. So let's go through our exercises here. In number 1, we have specto nautam, and specto, as we just learned, means I watch, or possibly I am watching. And then we see the word nautam, and as you can see, it has the am ending. So just by looking at that ending, we know it's the direct object. So number 1 is easy to translate. I am watching the sailor. Now if you wanted to, you could translate specto as I watch, and you could say I watch the sailor. But in my opinion, the nicest sounding English translation would be I am watching the sailor. Number 2 is exactly the same as number 1, except the words are in the opposite order. But here's a really interesting and wonderful thing about Latin, is that even though the word order is reversed, just by looking at the am ending on nautam, we know that it's the direct object. So our verb is at the end of the sentence, I watch or I am watching, and then our direct object is nautam. So exercise 1 and exercise 2 would have just exactly the same translation. I am watching the sailor. Number 3. Now here in number 3, we have our verb, specto, and it's being negated by the word non. So non specto will mean I do not watch, or I am not watching. And then we have a direct object, agricolam, which is farmer. So I am not watching the farmer. Number 4, the first word we see, agricolam, immediately by seeing the am ending, we know it's the direct object. And so the verb, specto, is just going to fall right into place with that. I am watching the farmer. And the same with number 5. We see the verb, specto, I am watching, or I watch, and then the next word, poetam, we immediately know it's the direct object because of the ending. So number 5 is I am watching the poet. Number 6, same thing. Poetam, we can see immediately, is the direct object, and then specto is our verb. So I am watching the poet. In number 7, we have et being used twice to mean both and. Our subject here is ego, which is I, and then our verb is specto. So I watch, or I am watching, both the sailor and the farmer. So we really have 2 direct objects there. Starting with number 8, we review some things from past lessons. In number 8, we have the word sum, and it's being negated by non. So non sum means I am not. And then we have a predicate nominative, which is nauta. So I am not a sailor. And remember, nauta does not take the direct object form there in that sentence because it's not a direct object. It's a predicate nominative because it's coming after a verb of being or existing, which is sum. Number 9, sunt means they are, and agricolae means farmers. So that's they are farmers. If number 9 confused you, you could try translating sunt both ways. You could try translating it as they are, or you could try to translate it as are. Number 10, poetae means poets, and estis means y'all are, but it's being negated by the word known. So number 10 is y'all are not poets. In this case, poets is a predicate nominative because it's coming after a verb of being or existing.